What's up and welcome to a Disorderly Quickie, I guess. The news just came out that the Washington Redskins are no longer going to be called the Redskins. It's been a movement for a while, but I feel like, given the climate of everything right now, they finally pulled the trigger by officially announcing that the name would change. Still yet to announce the new name, so that's forthcoming, but the statement's pretty short, so I guess I could just read it. They wrote, on July 3rd, we announced the commencement of a thorough review of the team's name. That review has begun in earnest. As part of this process, we want to keep our sponsors, fans, and community apprised of our thinking as we go forward. Today, we are announcing we'll be retiring the Redskins name and logo upon completion of this review. Dan Snyder and Coach Rivera are working closely to develop a new name and design approach that will enhance the standing of our proud, tradition-rich franchise and inspire our sponsors, fans, and community for the next 100 years. So I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm with David St. Martin, who's a Redskins fan. We figured we'd weigh in on the announcement. So what do you have on this, Dave? Because obviously it affects you more than me since this is your team.
Yeah, it's weird. I have a lot of mixed emotions about it. It's hard because I don't know. I'm just a white dude. So I'm a white dude in my early 30s. I feel like, my feelings and opinions on anything related to race, culture, anything like that is pretty invalid. But just as a dude who has kind of cheered for this team for my entire life, and pretty passionately so, football and hockey are kind of my main interests in terms of sports, especially like professional sports. Anyway, the Skins are my absolute football team, as I'm sure like the Red Sox are your absolute baseball team. I'm sure I pretty much have the Skins and the Caps, when it comes to, and I to an extent, the Washington NBA team, as I refer to them as. But it's like, here we go again, baby. You know what I mean? Just absolutely just, it's tough being a Skins fan, for the bulk of my life. From being a DC fan, rather, I guess, the Skins have always been kind of, tough. And then when you're handing out first round picks, like, their puffy stickers, in exchange for RG3, and then you think that's going to go great. And then you leverage more picks for Alex Smith, and you think that's going to go great. So we could make sure Patrick Mahomes could, get a little starting time. You know what I mean? I'd like to, you can thank Bruce Allen and the former front deskers, front desk staff, front office staff of the Skins for making Patrick Mahomes the star he is. But it's hard, man, because this is always kind of a weird issue around town, and I really didn't get into it until I was a little bit older. I actually didn't. I was probably almost probably in my 20s before I even kind of started questioning the name.
Yeah.
To me, it was just always this, that's the name of the team. I love this team. I don't have any ill will or weirdness, or I don't goof on the name. I don't make fun of the name. This is my team. My heroes play for this team. Darryl Green was my goddamn defensive backs coach in high school. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I played high school football with his son. That's why he was a coach he was on the coaching staff. He could run faster backwards than any of us could run forwards. You know what I mean? Like, I remember going to Redskins training camp and standing out there and leaning on a fence and having the players, come over, and they're hot as shit. And this is Virginia in the summer, coming over, signing, towels, footballs, whatever, and just, I remember, standing in line, getting Sean Taylor to autograph, a little Miami helmet. He autographed the football. He was throwing up the U at me. I mean, I just have countless kind of positive memories. A lot of negative ones, as you can imagine. You know what I mean? It's a much beleaguered fan base and team and everything based on the performance. You know what I mean? But, nothing. And this is one of those kind of weird, crazy things for me where if you compartmentalize and you think, I try not to appear to be an idiot, right? Like, I understand, like, oh, this name could offend people. But to me, it's not a thing that I find offensive, right? But I guess at the same time, I'm not really. It's not really up to me. You know what I mean? So. I always thought there was this kind of a weird energy, especially, you know, in more recent years where, you know, people were kind of upset with Redskins fans that this is still a thing. Like, how can you cheer for this team? By association, you're racist. And it's just, that's the hardest part, I think, is that you've got kind of these people that, you know, and what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? What am I supposed? This is the name of my goddamn team. This is where I'm from. You know what I mean? Am I supposed to be eloquent enough as a like 8-year-old to say no, no, no? Yeah. As Max Kellerman claims to be. Max Kellerman is on First Take claiming that he knew at 8 years old that the Redskins was a racist name, and he refuses to say it, and he had this profound conversation with his father about how awful it was.
Well, he's a flawless human being. I don't know if you knew that about Max.
Are you insane, dude?
Yeah.
I turned to my father. I said, "Wait, that's okay? They call it a team that?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, and he shrugged. He was like, "It shouldn't be, but it is." That was 1980.
By the way, the way you talk about that almost reminds me of, because you're not associating racism with, like, if you're cheering, and by the way, I agree with this, if you're cheering for the Redskins your whole life, I don't think it's because you just don't care that it's offending people. It's just it is compartmentalized. It's almost like, I compare it to if you have a player on your team, like the Cowboys had, like Greg Hardy, for example, who's a really bad guy, but I'm not gonna not root for the team. It's like a weird, you're right. Just in. I'm a Cowboys fan for life. It is what it is. I felt uncomfortable that, you know, what do I do if Greg Hardy gets a sack? Am I happy about it? Am I supposed to be like, that's a bad guy?
The same thing, right? Like, absolutely. Like Michael Irvin, right? He had some legal issues. Are you just going to kind of... I'm a Miami fan, so I love Michael Irvin too. You know what I mean? But he's obviously like a Hall of Fame Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. And so just because of he gets into some weird legal trouble, does that kind of dissolve everything that you're supposed to kind of ever feel about him or anything like that? I mean, no, I'm sure you love watching him high step into the end zone. You know what I mean? So it's just been kind of a weird like past few years, you know, where and I was thinking about this. I was like, man, I went to countless games. Growing up, I had friends that had season tickets, and, you know, one of my super good buddies, you know, his family had like a 4-pack of season tickets, and man, it was like almost every other Sunday, you know, someone in the family, his older brother or his stepdad or someone didn't want to go. So I would get that, like, hey dude, can you be at my house in half an hour? Can you be here at an hour? You know, let's go to the Skins game. We went to every preseason game because no one in his family wanted to go. Like, I've like countless memories kind of going to these things. And it's kind of a weird thing to kind of be upset at people for just, I mean, it's not like a new thing. You know, this team name is like 90 years old.
Yeah, 1933, you know what I mean? I think I saw.
Right. So like, what would you have me do, sir? You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird thing. And that's kind of the weird awkwardness that a lot of fans in DC have had, where we have a lot of super interesting, highly educated people. It's a very expensive place to live. It's not bum F middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? So, and why, so how does this exist? How does it perpetuate? How does it keep going on? And, it's just been interesting to kind of watch, you know, the unraveling of this, the kind of the opportunism of all this. Well, now it's time because something horrible happened. Now we're taking account of all these other things, and it's just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, it's interesting. It's just weird to kind of step back. I'm more plugged into it because this is my team, obviously. You know what I mean? So, it does affect me, right? Like, what am I supposed to do with all my shit? Am I allowed to wear it? I live in Southern California. Right. I live in Orange. You know, am I going to get yelled at if I go to a sports bar wearing a Redskins hat or jersey or something? Like, is that where we're at? I don't think so. I don't think most sports fans are kind of upset about this. I don't know. I think everyone's kind of doing the dance and going on First Take or going on these shows or going and saying, yes, it's time. It's time, baby. Darryl Green is on ESPN going, I'm happy to just get rid of all my memorabilia from my playing days. I'm happy to get rid of all of it. And I'm just like, dude, are you serious? I don't know. I don't think this is one of those those issues that people are really upset about. In a way, it's kind of one of those, let's all just kind of pretend for the sake of pretending that this is really a big deal. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I'm optimistic that this isn't really ruining people's lives as it's kind of being portrayed to be. I honestly hope that's not the case. I feel terrible. I feel awful if this really does indeed bother a huge amount of people. That's awful. That's horrible. Like, of course, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I've watched kind of the media. Oh, we don't say the name anymore. We won't put it in writing. The Washington Post years ago was like, we're not going to say it anymore. You can still kind of write blogs about it, make money on it, but you're not going to, do anything with it. It seemed very weird to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there is a clear difference between, all right, the ownership continuing to, not change the name or whatever versus the fans who are just rooting for the team. I think there's different levels of responsibility that those are to take. Like, as a fan, it's not really your fault if you're just from the DC area and whatever. I wouldn't be like, man, that guy is perpetuating this name, because I think it's more of like the ownership and people like that who are making these decisions. So the fans are just rooting for their city's team. Like, I get that. But then it does become confusing. The point that you brought up earlier, which is interesting, is, do you have to then throw away everything with the logo on it? Like, what do you have to do to prove like that you're not racist, basically, if you grew up a fan and have all this memorabilia and clothes like that? Or is it just like, well, this is what it was, and people are just going to kind of accept it and not give you shit at a bar? Like, that's really the interesting question from a fan's perspective.
Right. Like, I'm happy to take shit at a bar because you hate my team, but don't
as a Cowboys fan in New England, I get that a lot, but I'll wear the jersey.
I see countless Cowboys fans out here in California because of the training camps they've done out in Concord, sure. Right? I'm sure there's tons of and largely absent of an NFL team. I think Cowboys are a great, let's just do Cowboys. You know what I mean?
Well, it was on TV so much in like the 70s, they just became like this nationwide team if you didn't already have one,
Totally. Yeah. And so it makes total sense to me. I totally understand. But it's weird. A lot of, journalists I know, people I know that are in the media, and they kind of do this weird thing where they have to pretend that they're really offended by it. And I can't roll my eyes hard enough at the people that are just, getting on whatever, on Twitter or whatever. Oh, it's about time. Finally, I can be a fan again. Finally, I can do this. And to me, I've never understood the move of Snyder. I mean, what are the skins worth, or what were they worth? Because the brand is what's worth like $3 billion, right? So you've got a man that bought the skins back in like 1999 for hundreds of millions of dollars, and now the team is worth $3 billion, or at least it was, right? So you're asking a man to basically destroy your brand that's like 80 years old, destroy one of the most valuable sports properties in history. It's up there with Real Madrid, Manchester United, Dallas Cowboys, you name it. I think the Patriots have kind of started to climb up, but for the last 20 years or however long, the Skins and Dallas were always kind of like 1 and 2 of the most valuable NFL teams, and then in top 5, like in terms of most valuable sports properties. And so that's what that man bought. You know what I mean? So it's kind of this weird thing where you're like, hey, we're going to destroy your brand, or you can change the name and destroy your brand. So I've never thought it made sense. Right. So I never thought Snyder would want to do it. And that's why, Skins fans hate Snyder, but they always kind of gave him a little bit of respect because he was so adamant about changing the name. He's a lifelong Skins fan. He bought the team because he loves the team. He wants them to win. He's an absolute psychopath and a crazy person, it seems like, from all accounts. But he wants this team to succeed. It's not like he's unmotivated, like the Ford family maybe in Detroit, right? Where you've never thought that Snyder doesn't want to win. He wants to win at all costs. He's signing Albert Hainsworth for insane amounts of money. He's going out and trying to get Alex Smith. He's going out, he off-season champs is what they say every year about the Skins, right? But I've never understood the motivation of, I'm not a fan of this team because of the name, so you need to change it so that I can be a fan of the team. I don't think that those people are necessarily going to finally now jump on board. They are going to shit on the team and the ownership and say, good, you should have done it 20 years ago. You should have done it faster. You should have done it better. And that's exactly what we've seen this week. Marcus Spears is up on First Take going, I'm not giving Snyder any credit. He can go F himself. He should have done it faster.
And so I'm not standing on a podium about to have a celebration for Dan Snyder for being conscious about social justice issues, because he is not changing the name because of that. He's changing the name because of financial pressure from these companies that we're talking about him pulling.
Is that what that's the reward for changing the name? You get a lot of anger. The same people that were pissed, that didn't want to be fans, are still pissed that you didn't do it good enough, fast enough, whatever, right? And so this whole narrative, there's been this weird like narrative that once they change the name, they'll get this big influx of new fans that can't wait to cheer for the whatever it's called. And I go, I don't think so at all.
Oh yeah, that's not true. I think from a business perspective, it won't help them at all for sure. It's like it's politically correct, and it's it's not gonna like people. No one's gonna be like, man, now I like this team. Like it's whoever was a fan before is still gonna be a fan. Maybe even less people. Like it's definitely not a business thing.
That's the thing, right? So I don't know how much it moves the needle. I don't think it gains anything, but I think it does piss people off, and they're not going to buy the merchandise, and they're not going to continue to support the team. One of the guys I follow on Instagram is like a very famous Navy SEAL. He's famous because he killed Osama bin Laden, and he's up there. And he didn't do a post directly about the name change, but he made a post about basically just controlling your destiny or something like that. Someone in the comments was like, "Hey, did you hear about the name change? What, are you still gonna be a fan?" Because he's a Skins fan apparently, and he said, "I'm out." And then the next day he posted a picture of himself at like a Bears tailgate hanging out. And he goes, new team, So you are going to lose a certain amount of people by doing this. I don't know how many people you gain, right? So it never kind of made sense to me of why you would do this. If you draw up a payoff matrix, right? You do X, this happens. If you do Y, this happens. It's never really made sense to me. You know what I mean? It's a huge gamble, a rebrand. Go ahead and ask Ted Leonsis if he's enjoying what Abe Pollin decided to rename his brand, right? So I don't think that Bullets fans are clamoring and running out and buying Wizards jerseys. I don't think they are. I don't own a single thing that says Wizards on it. I have several things that say Bullets on it. I have a John Wall shirt that just says Washington on it. I don't have anything that says Wizards on it. I don't want Wizards stuff.
Even the throwback Bullets jerseys are like the best thing the Wizards have. Basically.
I mean, and they've done Ted Leon's has done everything he can, right? He abandoned that horrible color scheme of the weird blue and like black and like the weird gold uniform. Do you remember those?
Yeah,
remember Gilbert Arenas?
Yep.
Running around in those gold uniforms and those gold shorts and shit. Some of the worst uniforms. I mean, the mascot G Wiz. Have you ever seen him? Have you ever seen G Wiz?
I'm sure I have, but I would need to.
Oh my god, dude!
I'll pull him up.
I'm not one to complain. With everything going on in the world, I'm not going to complain about a professional football team that hard. But we are DC fans who have already been through this with the Bullets, right? And so I'm a little bit concerned about where the rebrand is going. And I really hope that they kind of settle on something interesting and fun and allow the color scheme at least to stay, because that everything was on the table of, we're getting rid of all Native American imagery. Okay, that makes sense. If you're going to change the name,
sure,
probably go ahead, and because that's just, you're not going to, that's what people want. They want everything gone. I mean, I've been watching, I think, a councilwoman in Minnesota. I've been watching just news reports from all over the country because this is a big national topic. And there's all these Native American leaders and groups, and they're going, this is just the first one.
While they don't support the reason behind the change, leaders like Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan says it's at least a step in the right direction.
There are many more teams that we have left to go.
That's right.
But it goes far beyond sports teams and mascots.
And now we're going on to the rest of, you know what I mean? This was the big one. This was probably the easiest one. You know what I mean? Good luck. I mean, but they're gonna. If you think the Atlanta Braves are gonna keep doing that,
Seminoles, Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, you think? I mean, dude, Google. I mean, if you guys don't know what Florida State does, basically, is they have a white 20-year-old dude get on a horse dressed as an Indian, wearing face paint, with a spear on fire that he rides on a horse and he plants it at. Good luck, dude. And I guess they have some sweetheart deal with the tribe or something where they pay them off to let them keep doing this. But god damn, if you want to talk about what's optics of certain things, that's not great. You know what I mean? They literally have him wear bronzer and shit so that he doesn't look as pale. Dude.
They start with a layer of base makeup, and it changes me to a little bit darker tint. Then they go over it with the war stripes, and all that is researched. And
you know what I mean? Like, let me know.
That's not good.
Not good, right? So, like, listen.
By the way,
logo.
Gee Whiz, not to derail you, but Gee Whiz mascot is absolutely horrifying. Like nightmare fuel type. Terrifying.
Absolutely horrible. He's worse. I mean, he looks like
a wizard.
He looks like a Smurf.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's insane.
He's part bird. It looks like.
Oh my god! Don't even get me started on Gee Whiz. But you know, I understand the Redskins name. It's not great. If you want to pose it as that and say, hey, this is horrible, this is bad, I understand. It's an aggressive name for sure. But I've never really thought the logo was aggressive. Like it to me, that looks just like a proud image.
Right.
Right?
As far as logos, Cleveland Indians is definitely the most offensive.
Go get Chief Wahoo up here
that's
and
by
put them
far
side
the
to
worst,
side
right.
and let me know which one's worse, right?
Right.
And so that's been the thing, man. You know what I mean? I just want people to know, if you're listening to this and you're just like, fuck this guy, he's a Skins fan, fuck him. Listen, man, the Skins fan base does not have hate in their heart towards the Native American groups. We have hate in our heart towards the Philadelphia Eagles fans and the Dallas Cowboys fans and the New York Giants fans. And probably at this point, the Patriots fans as well. But I've never heard or seen anything at any game, any training camp, any practice, any tailgate, nothing. I've never seen or heard anything where someone was making fun of the imagery of our own goddamn team. You know what I mean? So if that's, I just want that really dispelled. You know what I mean? I've seen other fans make fun of our imagery and do racist shit. But I've never seen actual Skins fans do it. So I guess if that's, if that's part of the motivation to move on from it, that's fine. I don't know.
So what is the move then? I mean, at this point, it's a foregone conclusion they're changing the name.
Yep.
It's got to be, I mean, I think they actually even announced or at least, who knows, anything could change, but I think the plan is to keep the same color scheme at least, which is obviously iconic in its own right. It's the name, it's the logo, that's 90% of the brand, but the color scheme is also part of the, brand recognition and all that. So they have that. Sure. What do you do as far as the name change? Do you try to keep it something similar? I heard the Red Tails, Red Wolves, things like that, or I mean, I guess you would have to try to keep it somewhat similar to satisfy best you can anyway the old fans and still go through with this name change.
I think a lot of the fans want it to be an R word so that they can continue to say HTTR, Hail to the Redskins, right? So if you change it, Hail to the Red Tails, Hail to the Red Wolves, I think that's a big thing that people want. They want to still be able to say HTTR, but they only want to still be able to say that because they want to still just be able to keep the motto of the team, right? So that is HTTR. Huge. That's a huge Skins hashtag, right? No one ever does hashtag Skins. No, it's always HTTR, right? And that's always been acceptable, right? So even the super kind of PC crowd that I know that are Skins fans, they will still do HTTR because that's still acceptable, right? So I think that is what people want. There's a lot of debate. Are they going to get rid of because I live out in Southern California, but I watch nothing but YouTube clips of my DC sports talk. I mean, these are my teams, right? So all the talk is, are they going to destroy this tradition? Are they going to get rid of the band? Are they going to get rid of the colors? Are they going to get rid of the fight song, right? Hail to the Redskins. I mean, the motto is Hail to the Redskins. It's not, hey, look at us, we're making fun of the Redskins. You know what I mean? So I think that was one of the debates today is how much further will this extend, right? Because people are already roasting the Skins and Snyder over the PR statement that they put out that has Redskins all over it, mentions Redskins, and then it says, the statement that you read earlier when we started.
Yep.
It says sponsors ahead of fans, and it's a clear FU that this is motivated because sponsors got upset. And so
I mean, that's
Snyder,
absolutely what it is, right? Didn't Nike pull their gear from the...
Right.
There's like a bunch of stuff, yeah. Nike, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but they have child labor and a bunch of other issues of their own.
As far as I think they
it.
still have sweatshops in Malaysia where little children lose their fingers making footballs and sneakers and shit.
Yeah.
So, come on. But one domino falls and then the rest got to fall, right? So FedEx was a big one, right? Because... the backstory of this is a little interesting, right? So Fred Smith, who's the CEO, I believe, of FedEx, right? He's a higher up in FedEx, right? He's a minority owner of the team, and he made an effort to kind of take over the team and buy out Snyder shares. Okay, Snyder owns about 60% of the team, minority ownership. Split amongst a number of different people, own about 40%. He wanted to lead a group to take over a majority stake of the team. And Snyder did not want to sell. So then Fred Smith goes, well, let's see if FedEx still wants to be associated with this team that I wanted to buy. And so all of a sudden now FedEx has a problem. They issue a statement saying, hey, we want this name changed. We want this name changed, right? So does that happen if Fred Smith buys this team? I doubt he buys the team and then wants to change it. Why would you want to do that? Right. So a lot of this stuff it's just, is that a conspiracy? I don't know. But why would you, isn't that interesting that FedEx would suddenly kind of have a problem with it after years of not having any problem with it? The seats at FedEx Field are in like FedEx logo colors and shit. It looks horrible. You know what I mean? But they've done a lot with FedEx, right? And so, that's as a fan, you look and you see that and you go, man, does anyone actually care? Or is this all just being manipulated so that people can just destroy things or seek revenge? I don't know. But it's like, I hate to lose things if they're for nonsense like this, right? You know what I mean? Of just, if it actually upsets people, I'm happy to get rid of it. But people upset. If it upsets one person, we should get rid of it. Okay, well, talk to the Vikings and talk to the Raiders and talk to the Buccaneers and talk to all the Braves and the Indians. It goes on and on, right? So like, if the metric we measure this is one person being offended, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, where do you draw this line of just letting kind of the cancel culture and 3 people on Twitter, or how many headlines? I mean, we look at a lot of headlines on YouTube, on Twitter, whatever. How many headlines do you see that so-and-so Cardi B got Twitter backlash for saying this? And it's like 3 people tweeted at her and they wrote an article. Right?
Yeah.
So
it's so common now that it's like they blend together. No, it's like not even a big deal. It's a big deal for the 2 minutes you're reading the headline, and then there's going to be 5 more cancellations that day. Right.
So, I mean, we're losing this team. Like, it's gone. You know what I mean? So, I hope that it was done out of, or I hope some good comes of it. You know what I mean? Because this is a thing that's going to suck for people. People are going through a lot, and you can say F them. But there's people out of work that were waiting for the season to start so that they can go. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I sat around that you go, how did you afford these seats? How do you do this? How do you do that? And they leverage a ton of their income so that they can afford their insanely, their seats at FedEx Field, and then watch the Skins get absolutely shithoused twice a year by the Eagles or twice a year by the Cowboys or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, these people sacrifice a lot of their income and their weekends and their disposable, time, their income, to go support this thing, right? And so it just kind of hurts that, and you can say, oh, their suffering doesn't count for anything next to the suffering of Native Americans. I understand. I can totally understand that. But, it's just, I hope that these things are motivated out of positive reasons and that they have positive outcomes. I don't believe it was done for that. Clearly, Snyder doesn't want to do it. He did it because he was pressured to do it. And he was pressured to do it because a combination of different things. But honestly, I just, for Nike to stand on their soapbox and demand that this done, and then Amazon pulls it and Target won't sell it, and they all have to kind of just, get in line, baby. Fall in line or fall, you know what I mean? Get with it or get out kind of a thing. So I don't know. I think that's what's the most kind of upsetting thing, is that this doesn't seem to have any kind of resolution. The people that were truly upset by the name, I mean, I don't know. What happens? Do you go to bed tonight and go, well, we got one, and then just... I mean, is anyone living and dying by the name of this football team? I don't know. I hope not. I honestly hope not. I hope your life's work isn't destroying and going after sports teams or high schools or colleges or whatever, right? So I don't know. I honestly hope that positive things happen and that it's a good thing. But all the reasons that people have listed, I don't know, man. I don't think that this is they're just on to the next one, baby. You know what I mean? Just, we cancel the Redskins, cancel the next one. We're going out, it's just, where does it end? Is that your life's work? Your life's work is just, making sure no one's offended by anything. I guess that's noble. I don't know. That's not how I would probably want to live my life, but that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess, I don't know if you even have an answer to this question. I might as well wrap it with this, though. Do you... Out of the names that have been thrown out there, I saw you obviously mentioned Red Tails, Warriors. I don't know. There's a bunch that have been thrown out there so far. Do you have like a preference? Do you have any out of the box ones that you could think of? Like, where are you leaning right now as far as what you want the team to be changed now that the process started?
I guess want is probably too strong a word. I want to just be able to call this team the Skins or something. Even if you just, I thought maybe the Reds, convert.
Sure.
Because someone went from Redmond to Reds, right? I'm trying to think of who was it. St. John's. They went to Red Storm or something. But I thought maybe just keep the Reds, the Washington Reds. I'd root for the Reds. There's the Cincinnati Reds. Like that doesn't seem inappropriate, but I think that wasn't enough, right? So they had to kind of, we don't want red. We don't want red in the title. We want this or that. Or I think Red Tails was always kind of the, for years I've been hearing Red Tails,
Which, by the way, as
George Lucas,
as a standalone, I kind of like that. It does sound cool. Also, I forgot about the Hail to the Redskins thing. Hail to the Red Tails actually is almost, it flows better. But I do, as a standalone, I do kind of like that name personally. And by the way, just before I lose it, Syracuse Orange, who I hate because I'm a UConn fan, big basketball rivals.
Right.
They were the Orangemen, and then they shortened it to Orange.
Right.
A while back.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have any problem with that. It's kind of ubiquitous with the team and everything. But I think the name that seems to be carrying the most steam in the last couple weeks, because to me, I haven't seen this name for years, and then all of a sudden it came out of nowhere, is Red Wolves. No one was talking about Red Wolves for years.
Right.
People have been talking about Warriors for years, and Snyder, because there was a story where Snyder went out and tried to get the some of the patent copyright stuff for Warriors, but that wasn't, obviously the Golden State Warriors own a lot of that shit, right? So that's a tough one to go for.
I think I saw also the Warriors. He's trying to name a arena football team, the Warriors or something. Some time back. So,
yeah. That's just such a basic bitch name to me. The Warriors. Every high school, I drive by a high school every day. That's the Warriors out here, and they've got spears and feathers on their shit, everything. I'm good luck, guys. Have fun, I guess, when they come for you. But I think Red Wolves is, of the options, I liked Natives, you know what I mean? But I guess you can't do that. You can't have any Native American imagery, name, anything. I thought that would be cool. Natives is always cool because Natives is always popular. To me, Natives and locals, right? Is kind of a thing that people always want to claim to be, right? We're a native of this or we're a local of that. I thought that would be kind of cool and positive, because DC has so many transplants that it's such a transplant area, city, district, whatever you want to call it, that it would be cool to have a team that would be like, no, we're Washington natives. We're from this place. We don't come here to just get a job, to work on the Hill or whatever, and then just fuck off and leave or whatever. You know what I mean? So I thought that would be a cool name. I think Red Wolves of the I don't know. I'm always a sucker, I think, for animal nicknames, and I guess I could see. I don't know. I'm worried that if they went with Red Tails, it would be in some weird way. There would still be some kind of problem with it.
It's
even
still
if it's
named
honoring,
after, like, I know it's a specific group
it's
of.
still named after people,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
and
a
people of a
specific-
certain ethnicity,
Right, exactly.
right? So I mean, that was my like. Are they? I mean, are
Worst
they
case
coming
scenario,
for
you
Red
change
Tails
the
in 10
name
years?
And
I
then
don't
you
know.
change it like 10 years from now, right? That's worst case scenario. Then
Horrible.
it's like you might as well
Yeah.
just blow up the whole team.
Right. So now from the rumblings I'm hearing, and I'm not an insider. I just follow 10 million frigging Instagram accounts and 10 million skins bloggers or whatever. I'm a fan of the skins, right? And so this seems to be that their Red Wolves is the favorite. They like the name. They're fighting it out with Arkansas State Red Wolves to kind of get into some sort of agreement where they could share it or use it and be separate enough that it's not confusing. But if you're Arkansas State, just take Snyder to the cleaners, baby, and get something every year or whatever, and have him pay for your fucking football team or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
you're in the MAC conference. Get some of that sweet NFL TV rights money, and sell it on out. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll inspire more people to want to be associated with that name, and then they need to come through you too, because I think they own all that shit. But it's an interesting story that they had a guy on, 106.7 The Fan is the big sports talk station, and they talked to the guy. There's one guy that he's a trademark squatter, copyright squatter, whatever, and he went out and got a bunch of different things that he wants the skins to consider. And he says he doesn't want any money. He says he wants to just help facilitate this. He says he does not want any money. He sounds like he's a man of at least moderate wealth who does not need to, he didn't go out and do this out of some weird like scheme to make money like patent trolls do and all that stuff, right? He went out and was like, hey, I want to reserve these because this is going to happen, and I want to be the guy that they need to come to and say, hey, can we use this name? Can we? And he went, he lives in Alexandria, Virginia. He's a Skins fan. He wants to help the team, right? So that's what his story is. So, I think Red Wolves is kind of my preference, if I'm honest. It's somewhat animal. I think you could do a lot of cool stuff. You could have like a wolf pack stuff. You could, wolves are cool anyway. You know what I mean? So it's not like, goddamn, there's some weird animal mascots out there, that are fun. But, for an NFL team, man, you need something a little bit, ferocious and vicious, because otherwise, man, if you get stuck with, even if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you're Bengal Tiger. You know what I mean? You're the Lions. You're the Bears. You want a strong animal nickname if you're going to be in the NFL. You're not cutesy enough to be able to do the Stanford Cardinal tree. God damn it. You know what I mean? So I think that would be my preference. I don't want them to change the colors. Keep the colors, man. Are colors offensive? Just keep the colors. Make it Red Wolves. And keep an R name, and I'm as happy as I'm willing to be, probably.
All right, there you have it. I mean, nothing ever beats the Battlehawks, but that's a separate argument altogether. The Washington Battlehawks, I don't see anything wrong with that. All right, well, I guess that's it. That's your. I really don't personally care. I just don't care.
No, well, I mean, I guess I was going to ask you. I've never thought that Cowboys fans. I have this weird thing where I assume everyone in Texas is racist, and that's I'm just joking. It's a joke. Yeah. But Texas has that good old boy cowboy, we don't. I've never thought Dallas fans are offended by the Redskins name. I've never heard them say anything.
Sure. And I'm not, granted, I'm a Connecticut Cowboys fan, so I can't relate to what they actual, I've never been to a game.
And I'm completely joking, by the way. If you're from Texas, I'm using generalizations out of good-natured fun. You know what I mean? But do you think it takes away from the rivalry that it's no longer Cowboys and Indians?
I don't care. Also, and this is just, it's a recency thing. The Cowboys, I feel like the Redskins, out of the three NFC East teams, are the one that it's still in the division, it's still an important game, all this stuff, but I don't know. I get more up for the Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants rivalries, so it's just... It really does not matter to me. I understand why people within the Redskins fan base are torn on it. For me, it's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. I know it might sound like a short-sighted thing, but yeah, it doesn't. I didn't care before. I don't care now. I understand why it's happening, but also why people are upset about it. And I don't know. It just feels like it's going on somewhere else. It's like, like you can only. I mean, this probably isn't even culturally sensitive to say, but like I care more about what's happening in the United States than I do, in some other country. It almost feels like that. It's like interpolitics over in freaking Spain or something, and it's like, yeah, I can relate to why it's a debate, but I mean, I don't know. That's over there. This is here. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. So it does not have a major.
Certainly not passionate one way or the other. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm good. I'm glad. I honestly, as I said again in my closing statement, I hope this is all good. I hope good things happen. I hope people are happy. I hope new people come in. I hope they sell all merchandise and jerseys. I'll buy something. I'm not going to stand on a hill and die on it and say, but I'm still going to wear my shit. I'm not going to throw away all my shit and my memories and my memorabilia and all that. I'm not going to do that either. But I will probably go out and buy a hat or a jersey or a shirt or whatever like that. I just, I understand why it's happening. I don't like it. It's brutal, but in the grand scheme of things, it is what it is. So, I guess that's where I end on it. I will continue to support the team. I'm not abandoning it and going to go cheer for the Carolina Panthers or some shit. But yeah, it's just one man's take.
Speaking of the Panthers, I completely forgot until I read that statement that Rivera was your guys' coach now.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. But
well, I mean, they basically got rid of all the front desk, the old guard that's been there for 10 years with Bruce Allen, and they got rid of they got rid of a lot of the poor marketing people, and just the people that just probably seemed good meaning, just kind of came there for a job, you know what I mean, and they just kind of cleaned house and got rid of them because they got on the bad side of Snyder, and then Bruce Allen got rid of people. But, Doug Williams is still there. They have a lot of people in kind of these lower weird, like player development, but they don't have anyone that's like a really dedicated GM. They don't have a dedicated like president of the team. It's kind of weird. They don't operate like most teams. It's weird.
Yeah, sure. All right, man. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think that's it. Just hail to the R's, whatever they may be. Hopefully, Red Wolves.
All right, there you have it. Thank you for listening, and I guess we'll catch you next time. Hopefully, with something a little less controversial.
Yeah, no, just I wanted to share my perspective, and it's always good for us to talk a little bit of sports. So,
I can't wait. Yeah, by the way, who cares about any of this? As long as football comes back, I'll be happy.
That's right. You know what I mean. So as long as we get some sort of product but I just want to watch Chase Young just murder people.
I just want to watch CeeDee Lamb murder people.
Well, we'll see. Who was it? Chad Ochocinco said, or who said he was going to lock down CeeDee Lamb? He would give him 10 routes. He
I don't know.
Catch 2 balls. I think Chad Johnson. Google it. Chad Johnson is going to give CeeDee Lamb 10 routes, and he says you get 2 balls. That's all you'll get.
Huh. I'd like to see
him
that.
playing corner.
Yeah. So. That'd be interesting. I mean, he is a rookie, but we'll see. I'm optimistic.
That's an insane statement to make, though. There's no way. There's no way Chad Johnson. You're gonna shut him down.
But I could see him being disappointing. Right now you can't. I'm optimistic, and you can't shake that until I see something disappointing. Right now, it's like, I can't wait for this guy.
Yeah. Well, you still got Dak. You still got Amari Cooper. You still got CeeDee Lamb. You got
Michael Gallup's going to make a big leap, I think, too. He's coming into his third year. He improved a lot from his first to second year. Yeah. So.
Do you have an offensive line this year?
I don't know.
Or is that still in shambles?
It's a little bit in shambles. We still have it's supposed to be good last year, and then it just kind of fell apart. There's getting more injury prone. It was this elite offensive line that's basically still intact, and it's just slowly aging here and there. And we lost Travis Frederick officially now. So we'll see.
Well, I just hope it's good games. I want competitive games. That's it. I love when the NFC East is the parity in that division is good. That's all I want.
Sure. Yep. I agree. All right, man. Well, nice talking to you.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
All right. Take it easy.